starting on your time today. 4:20 it is. I'm your host, DJ Flores, the Robinhood Capitalist, and with me, as always, my coach and yours, hopefully, Coach Stacy D. Coach, what a this weekend. Obviously, we were talking backstage for a little bit. That's why we're late. Sorry, everybody. We do try to get on at 4, but at least we are persistently on. We're just not consistent yet, but we'll get there. But yeah, we were talking backstage, just catching up because this weekend was crazy. I know I had a road trip, and so did you. So we were both
Yeah,
talking
man.
about road trips. Got to spend some time with my family in Michigan, which we kind of did a whole first for us, which was awesome. It was different, but really cool at the same time. And I think we'll figure out we like it a little bit better because it eliminates some of the stress that most families have around this time of okay, well, who's family, and we're going to this family. Oh, we got to make sure and go here, here, and here too. And this kind of got to eliminate that headache that seemed to always be the stress around this time. So we got to celebrate a mix of Thanksgiving and Christmas all this weekend together with my family in Michigan at my parents' new place, which was awesome.
What part of
And
Michigan
we
do you go to?
so they're in Swartz Creek is where they're in a small. So it's a small little kind of county, I guess. In just what do I even? I don't even know what's near there. Big. I guess I'd say
Sounds
it's
like my
outside,
kind of place.
kind of north. So northwest of Detroit, probably about an hour and yeah, I think an hour.
All
45
right.
minutes, something like that from Detroit. But yeah, it's, just tiny little. It's 30 minutes from my brother's house, which is cool. So they now get to have them nearby, which is cool as well. But yeah, it was such a good time.
So you made the drive there and back. How many hours is that?
12 and a half, and it was the last 3.5. Woo! Let me tell you, it was watching, staying and watching again. I wore the Cleveland one for you. So these are all the pains of us Cleveland fans until the thankful 2016. But yeah, I watching the Browns. Got to watch the Browns with my family and Joe Flacco pulling out some magic in the fourth quarter. The good old magic that used to spank us. Now we got to see it come through for us, which was pretty awesome. But how was your weekend? I know you got to go to Tennessee. Where in Tennessee did you guys go?
Yeah. So you're talking kind of about traditions. Our traditions are changing up quite a bit here with our kids having kids and people
Yeah.
are moving all around. So my son and daughter-in-law and grandkids and my daughter and son-in-law met us. We all met in Pigeon Forge and had a Dollywood Christmas. So we did that last year kind of on a whim, and we all had so much fun. We decided to make it a thing. So we were back up in there. So I had it easy. It was only a 9 hour drive each way for us. So
Now, were you in the Christmasville area of Pigeon Forge? Is that where?
oh,
Because I know there's like,
that whole place turns into a Christmas town. I
oh
mean,
yeah,
there's like 5 million lights on the river that's behind the strip on everything that you can walk through, and then obviously Dollywood is all decked out, and so I mean, pretty much from Sevierville on I-40 to Gatlinburg is just
yep,
one big giant
yeah, okay.
Christmas.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't remember when it was a year actually with my brother in Michigan. We had went down there sometime around Christmas to. There's a big hotel there that like Christmas. I think there's Santa Claus was there every day. They gave out like cookies every night and hot chocolate. I mean, it was very Christmas themed, Christmassy, which was super cool. But yeah, so and it was amazing to see because they really do deck it out down there for
I
Christmas.
forget there's one that's like the Inn at Christmas Village, and it's a whole Christmas village and a hotel that's
That's
themed. So
that was it. That was it. That was
yeah,
the one. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that place is beautiful from the outside and inside. It's a pretty place,
It
but no,
really is.
we had a blast. The grandkids were awesome. With little James being two now, he was able to ride some of the rides, and so getting to ride some of the rides with him That was great.
It's such an experience. Like it's so fun to sit there and think like, what are they thinking right now? What do they really like? What is going on in that mind? Like what what are we connecting the dots for them right now with this experience? You know what I'm saying? Like I
And then
love looking at.
the whole time the rods are doing this, he's just kind of very serious, and so you're like, I don't know if he likes this or not. But then when he gets off and wants to go again, you're like, okay, that's a winner. That's a
Okay, he liked it. He liked the fear. The fear wasn't too much. Well, we're not gonna stay too much off time, so we're gonna get into the show. And fear again. We do want you to fight fear. So if you are watching this, if you are facing one of those fears, fear of failure, fear of success, fear of the unknown, or fear of judgment, we want to help you believe in yourself. And so we are gonna stay on the Think and Grow Rich topic. It's crazy how it's really buzzing and coming around, Coach. But I was just listening to a podcast with Maggie the other day on the way back from the trip, and I think it was Mel Robbins. So shout out Mel. But and they whoever had mentioned Think and Grow Rich, and she's like, man, you guys keep talking about this, and I'm like, yeah, because everybody is. This is around the time that people start to, maybe this year didn't end up the way you wanted it to. I'm sure it didn't end up the way most people wanted it to. But so Think and Grow Rich, getting back into principles, and the one I picked for today is imagination. Number 5, imagination, and at least again Earl Nightingale's interpretation of the Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, which I'm kind of going off of because I love it. And the thing that he brought from imagination, or principle number 5, as he calls it, imagination, is success through positive mental attitude. And so that's what this show really, and the intention of this show is going to be, is going to be just breaking the bad ideas of what this woo-woo, rose-colored glass positive people, or as Coach, as you like to say, and I love this. It replays in my head. The optimist or the pessimist, it doesn't matter. Glass half empty, half full. You have faucets, you can fill it anywhere. And so I love that, and so I want to get into that a little bit more. So, Coach, you got anything you want to fill with that, or can we just get this started?
Let's start this show, man. Let's roll. I love it.
You get one heartbeat song. Take it seriously. This is your masterpiece. Don't forget to dream and taste the colors in the air you breathe. It's your masterpiece. Go ahead and feel it all. Don't stop till it is beautiful. Don't stop till it is beautiful. Don't stop till it is beautiful.
All right, Coach. So I want to get right into it. So number 5, what is principle number 5, at least in the book? I know you got the book in front of you.
Yeah. So imagination, he calls it the workshop of the mind, and it is the 5th step toward riches. And basically what it's talking about is the importance of keeping your mind in a state of creativity, in a state of energy that is going to be very creative, and not falling. Because when you kind of read through the book, what it'll reinforce is the fact that our society, we kind of we produce average, right? That's kind of the where we're mass producing average. And what the imagination does is it takes you out of your own comfort zone so that you can rise above that average. But Maxwell Maltz in psycho-cybernetics, he calls it the playhouse of the mind, and visiting that playhouse frequently and not living in the state of imagination, but visiting that state of imagination enough times to start to make it real. And so, the earlier chapters talk about desire and faith and all these things. We really do have to believe, and we have to see in the imagination what it is we're trying to grow into and become in order to become it. So what the chapter focuses on is, how do you do that?
Coach, you said so much there. It was gold, and it was making my brain just go all over. But I will tell you, the one thing that you really nailed on is that I want to go back to fear and really play on fear, because I think fear is what stops most people from even believing anything that they're, again, it all pops up here, and then it's, no, that's crazy. No, that's crazy talk. No, it's not even possible. No, nobody's going to believe, or nobody's going to think. Again, it instantly goes to a fear of something in some way. And I think what you said so perfectly about this chapter and about imagination is I think we have to, and that's where, one book I go to all the time when it comes to positive mental attitude is going to be again, It Takes What It Takes, Trevor Moawad's book, and the whole idea and concept of neutral thinking, because you can tell by some of his talks when he was still here, and even in the book itself, you can tell his dad got razzed a lot because he, like myself, like I thankfully was blessed with always being positive. Like nothing is impossible to me. I don't know why. I don't know what makes me think that's even possible, but nothing is impossible. It's just there's a way. Just finding the right people, the right processes, the right, like there's a way. And so like I always had that, thankfully, in me, to where I always kind of got
Most people,
razzed the same way.
most people lose that very early because school kind of weeds that out of you, that creativity, because school is training you to always have the right answer and to fear being wrong and to fear having the wrong answer.
Yeah.
And obviously the way we learn, we've talked about our dips and failures and all the things, and there's so much learning that can be done there. But it was funny that you went to that particular book. Every morning I've got some folks, I'll send some text messages out or just little quotes or things. And today was, I went to David Goggins, but he says, I don't stop when I'm tired. I stop when I'm done. And that's the one I went with this morning, and that's kind of what this is all about. It's if we don't have the burning desire and the faith and the belief and then the imagination to see a better way forward, we're going to continually say, can I, when the real question is what you just said. You nailed it. You said, how can I? So just adding the word how in front it tells you your mind, it tricks your mind to say, okay, there is a way. I just have to find it. I just have to find the way. And so we have to go from that can I to how can I, and that's through imagination that we're able to do it.
Coach, I love it. So that was something again that I always had. Just I was blessed, I guess. That's all I can say. But that was something from Robert Kiyosaki and Rich Dad Poor Dad that was a big lesson he learned, and that was the small shift that he learned from his rich dad. And one of the first things I got from him was that the difference between his poor dad and his rich dad was, well, we can't afford this, we can't afford that. And it was his rich dad said, no, you never say we can't, it's how can we. Just changing that can't to how is a huge, it really does change everything. I mean, it really does make you think, okay, well, then it's possible. And to me, that's that's an excitement. Okay, that's a challenge. Like, sweet. How do we make this? How do we figure it out?
Right. Well, and you brought up how this relates to fear. And when we did the Thurman Fleet Stickman representation, we talked about this. But just remember what we said is that when you're trying to get your thoughts to determine your feelings, to determine your actions, there's that thing that they call the terror barrier. And that's the fear. And that's what pushes us back into the comfort zone. So every time you get this brilliant, bright new idea and you're really excited about it, the first thing your brain does is the subconscious says, who are you to do that? Don't you remember when? You start bringing up and replaying all the things that are on your shirt.
Yes,
You replay the
yeah.
fumble. You
Oh,
replay the drive home bad. You replay all these things in your head and you convince yourself that there's no way.
yeah.
And so visiting this playhouse of the mind of our imagination is a way that we can start to build that stronger belief. It's a reinforcement of the belief. But man, the fear is real. And anybody that just says you just have to get over the fear and make it sound easy. It's not easy.
It's
It's like everything else. There's a process to it, and part of the process is imagination.
Yeah, and that's what I think, and that's why I picked this topic. I think we need to, just like I had played that whole speech from Jim Rohn about childish curiosity we have to have is one of his keys. He said, I think that's childish curiosity is almost like another play on imagination. And that's just one of those things you have as a child, that nothing is impossible. You can, I can, well, I seen it on the show. Peter Pan jumped off that thing and he just started flying. I could do it too. And so you just think like, well, it's possible. And I think the imagination though, I love that we're playing on the fear side of this, and that's it's because this is what I feel like. I think there's so many people who have these things, and why we talk about Les Brown and the rich, all the ideas all start here, but everybody's so afraid and fear. So there's the imagination and the positive side of imagining it positively in a positive situation. And again, like you said, it's not something that's simple, but it's, if you practice it and you play it out, or you just think of whatever you're facing next as a game of chess. Chess is never the next move. Chess is always 5, 6, 7 moves down. So you've already played out what those situations look like, good and bad. But I think we have to imagine both, but then we have to just always go to the positive. But I think, one of the greatest definitions of fear that I've heard that I will live by forever is false evidences appearing real. And it's those ghosts, it's those scary things that, again, that imagination can be good and it can be bad. And just as much or as powerful as it is to the good, you're going to get even worse to the bad.
Yeah, and you remember on the stick man, we put the letters BS and the subconscious, and those are the belief systems that are built in that tell us that we can't do these things, and that's what you have to overcome. Is the BS, because you've got these beliefs about money, about life, about politics, about the world, and all of those color your decisions and the choices and the things that we make, and that's what we have to overcome to make better decisions, better choices, and take better actions, because that's the way you get better results.
Yeah.
And it's not magic. We're not saying that you just had to sit on your butt and think about these things.
No.
It's just the first step is thinking, because we have to change the thinking. Now, you're in a lot of sales situations. What's the difference between going into a sale and you have imagined the great positive outcome for the client and for you, versus going into the sale with the fact that, I've take this one or else?
I'll tell you, honestly, to me, and I might be totally wrong. Again, it's just my opinion. Anything I say is just my opinion. I don't know anything. People could tell me something and I'll probably believe you more. If you say conviction, with enough conviction, I'll probably believe you. But to me, I think that most sales get lost even before that, because they don't. A lot of people. So the one thing I was blessed with living this crazy lifestyle of the commission only, basically entrepreneur lifestyle, is time, and managing time and being very intentional on things is so crucial. And so one thing I learned from in-home sales being, and it was really mostly in-home sales, that it was a big thing and a big driver, that it was like, man, there's power to it. And also I was using it for mobile university, but it was to show up early to the appointment and kind of get in the right space, get prepared for the appointment, kind of play through, almost like, again, like an athlete would talk about before the game. They're sitting there and they're playing through what is going to, how is this, and they're mentally playing through. We do that in sales. And that was one thing that they taught, and I learned very young, was show up early and kind of get ready for it, because you have to be ready for what. Maybe I'll show one of these videos, because it went even and tied a lot to from Bob Farrell, which we give him the pickle. But a strategy he liked to teach was in sales or in customer service, because that's what he was more in, customer service side. But again, it's just dealing with people. But you're on stage, and to be on stage and to be in the right, you can't just go and leave your crazy world and maybe you just were fighting with somebody and then you got cut off in traffic and all of these things, and you can't rush up to the customer. What are they going to get? Who knows what they're going to get? But it's not going to be what you want them to get. And so you're on stage, and so you really need to be intentional. And so, I literally will show up to appointments 30 40 minutes. Maggie's like, you're crazy. What? That's just more. If I do show up that early and traffic doesn't mess me up or this doesn't mess me up or whatever, I just have more time to get ready and maybe listen to something. So, that was very intentional with that. But that was, it was the power of that. I think most people lose it because they don't even believe in the power of that. So they don't even get to that, okay, let me get in the right mindset. They're just rushing from thing to thing to thing. And it's just a chaos of people living, again, more reactionary than planned out.
So odds of actually making the sale. You show up early, you get you in right headspace, you feel good versus you just show up in time to get to the door before the allotted time with the mindset of if I don't make this sale, I'm in trouble. What's the difference in odds of making that sale?
I mean, I would say it's easily 70%, 80%. You have a better chance to make that sale if you are there preparing for it, walking through the idea, walking through again, if you're selling something in a house, their house, what it looks like, you're checking out and doing the things you're supposed to do.
Going through the steps to connect with them on a level that's deeper than just I'm DJ, I'm here to sell you this product. You're looking for commonalities. You're looking for all the things that can build a connection. You're looking for their behavior style.
Yeah.
You're observing. Whereas if you go in with that attachment to the outcome, that's all you can think about is the attachment to the outcome instead of being in a good positive space.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's what I believe, at least. Again, just my opinion, but I think it gets lost there.
So in this particular chapter, it's a little bit deeper in because I have the line numbers of each line of the chapter. And so this is all the way down at line 310. But he says, if you're one of those who believe that hard work and honesty alone will bring riches, perish the thought. It is not true! ! And so he goes, that's kind of what he's saying. He's like, those things are important, but those things alone aren't enough.
Mm.
So what do you make of that? What do you make of him saying that hard work alone is not enough?
It goes back to the quote that you talked about from one of the earlier chapters when we were talking about your first subject, but the quote from the end of the persistence quote. It goes right to that for me. Is what
Oh
it
yeah,
triggers.
back to Calvin Coolidge.
Yeah, that's literally what it triggers for me. This is just a statement that was made in the quote.
Yeah, and we were talking before in the backstage. We were talking about desire, and you mentioned burning the boats and that sort of thing. And usually that's a question that I used to get a lot in those early trainings. So because I would talk about burning the boats and making sure that you're mentally prepared for the stress and strain of being a business owner. So I was trying to be honest, and it's going to be hard. Here's some things that you can do to help you prepare. But one of the questions that would come up is, what do you mean? What do you really mean by that? What boats am I supposed to burn? And so when we go through the chapter, when we go through this discussion, and because in the imagination, I want you to be wide open.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean I want you to quit everything that you've got going on in life at the drop of a hat necessarily.
Yeah.
Sometimes we burn them a little bit mentally, but at the very least, when it's going through it, the best way to burn your ships is wherever you are right now, become irreplaceable at where you are right now.
Yeah.
Because then you have options.
Yes.
Then you have options, and that's a way that you can do it without kind of getting rid of some of that security. But because when you're sitting there in the imagination, too much time there, I think, can also be dangerous because we start to see the world through rose-colored glasses, and that's not what this is about. This is about seeing it to the point of believing it.
Yep. And then when you get believing it and then doing, believe it, do. But I think that's where the burning the boat is. I think if we're I think you said if you're honest with yourself, but I think if you're honest with yourself, like whether you're all in or whether you are kind of have a fallback in your mind, or well, if this doesn't work, or if those even words play in your mind, you're not all in. Again, you don't have to burn the boat, but you're mentally, emotionally, those things, you're not all in. If there is, well, if this doesn't work, at least I still have this. Well, then why are you doing it? Like why?
Yeah.
I do it. And that's where I think the burning the boat more needs to be is just understanding that feeling of like this is my focus. This is my goal. This is my like when I wake up, this is what I'm thinking about. When I go to bed, this is what I think about. It has to be one of those. Is
Yeah,
more that
the
burning.
folks that really, I think the ones that worry me the most at the new franchisee trainings were the ones where all of their line of questioning was around
Mm,
a worst case scenario. And I'm all for when I'm budgeting, I plan best case, middle case, worst case. I do all that.
of course.
But this wasn't in budgeting. This was in general conversation throughout the week. It was always
Mm.
about a worst case. At the best they would say, "Well, tell me what average is," and that average is not going to get you to.
Yeah.
You've already told me what your dream is for this business, and it ain't average. Let's quit talking about it. Why don't you
Yes.
ask me who's where you
Who's the
want to be?
best? Yeah, I want to
Yeah,
beat them. How do I beat them? Yeah.
but those folks, they were in this trap of they weren't using their imagination. They were letting, you talk about your disdain for realist. A lot of times they were being the realist in the room, and wanting to keep the discussion there. And again, when it's budgeting, I
Absolutely.
understand plan. But when we're talking about, this was not that. This was for an entire week. I know where their mindset is. That's a dangerous mindset because
Well,
their boats aren't burned. They're already looking for the out, and they hadn't even taken the first step.
that's what I'm saying. It's dead here. Like if it's dead here, it's dead. It's dead out there. Like the game has to play all the way through up here to me at least. Otherwise, it does. There's no point to even try. And so, like what you're saying, like if in your mindset at all, there's talks of it not working, it's dead up here. Like you're already living it out before it's even living out. But I want to go back to the whole positive thing because again, that was the one thing that I loved because success through positive mental attitude. And it's a overplayed thing. And again, there's a lot of the hustler crowd, and those people don't believe in the positive idea. But that's where back to it takes what it takes in Trevor Moawad. And I wish this guy was still with us because he was so amazing and so smart. But um, his dad was Mr. Positivity, and so he obviously from learning from his dad figured, okay, I need to take this further. And that's why, with his concept of neutral thinking, or like I like to say, I can't think of the coach now that Ted Lasso saying, be a goldfish. But he says be a goldfish because they have 5 second memory. Like it happened. Oh, you hit that rock. You failed that thing. This whatever happened, it happened. Okay, get over it. And what's next? And just the next step. And that's where the neutral thinking and Trevor Moawad's kind of connecting that is like, okay, live it up here. Let all the negative ideas play the negative routes completely up here, but never let it come out here or out here. Never let it come out. And that was Trevor Moawad's thing was you can think all like yes, it's impossible to not think negative things. Most of the time your brain is because it's just going to the defensive mechanism and playing out everything bad that ever happened. So it's going
Right.
just really to protect you. It's going to play out the negative. But so it's always going to go negative. So but just don't say the dumb shit out loud. Don't say negative stuff. Don't listen to negative stuff. That's why his dad was big on and I think I'm finally getting through to Max. I'm not trying to be forceful like he said his dad was, but country music is a no-no. His breakup and this and cheat on this and do this. Screw it. Just stop listening to that stuff. But and so like I believe it. I believe what he's saying. And so literally, in his book, and so the book is so powerful because it really was a lot of he was saying in the book and kind of teaching people what I was feeling my whole life. Like, wow, like, this is just negative. Like, how can this world not be what it is if this is all we listen to and think about? Like,
Oh yeah.
like, well, how can it not be this way? But
Yeah. If your entire world is filled every day with negativity, how can you be anything but?
yeah,
So if it's in your music, if it's in your
the
YouTube choices, if
news,
it's in
music,
video games, if
yeah,
it's in news, we know it's in the news. The news is a no-no already. We know all of that. And so if it's in all these places, good luck.
Stay out. Yeah, just stay out.
Good luck.
It's gonna be there. It's always gonna manifest here. But
Bob Proctor through and Paul Martinelli's who I heard it. He was a Proctor guy, but Martinelli said that when you get this great idea and you get that voice that says, "Yeah, but last time we fumbled," or whatever that negative that comes up, you can't just ignore it and you can't make it go away because it's become part of your belief system. It's become part of your psyche. So he says to acknowledge it and then move on. Interesting that the fumble would come up in my mind right now, but that's not who this team is anymore. We are winners because we are consistently winning and doing the right things every day. So acknowledge it and then just move on from it. And that starts to get that transition away from that BS that's in our brain.
and that's basically the whole Trevor Moehd's idea of neutral thinking. Like, yeah, he went through some crazy stuff before he passed away. Divorce, that was hard. All these other things, and he's like, it happened. Oh, okay, like acknowledge it, like you're saying, but then that doesn't define the future. It's just what happened in the rear view. It's just in the past. So the future is still a choice that you get to choose next.
Well,
That's the next step in the game.
in this season of happiness and thanks, I'm thankful you wore the shirt because I didn't have to think of examples. The shirt just was laid right out there for me to use. It's been
Oh,
great.
this has been my childhood of torture. I wear it with pride. This might be what made me believe, because I still believe, oh, this is our year. Every year, I'm still a Browns fan thinking this is our year. Maybe I don't have it as much right now, but yeah, this might be our year. Who knows? 2016 was a fluke, and we almost had it happen twice with the Indians, and then we
Ugh.
got smacked. We got smacked in the face with a 3-1 miracle. But yeah,
So
it's
if all it takes to erase sports negativity is to wear the sweatshirt, I've got a couple of I need to make sweatshirts for.
hey, it worked. It worked. Look, 2016 will always have it, and Cooper was born that year, so that was like just an amazing year period.
But it
Got
has
to
worked
watch.
out because see when you're trying, how are we going to change the culture of a losing organization? Well, the losing organization is constantly thinking about that.
Yes, always, always. And until they get that out, okay, that was them. That's not us. We are different. We have done this. What
It's
are you doing
it's
to
not
be
about
that?
it's not about past drives. It's not about Billy Goats. It's not about a bad deal for Babe Ruth. It's about what are you doing to prepare today to get ready, and what actions are you taking, decisions are you making. If you focus on doing the right thing in the moment each and every day, good things are going to happen. Small things done consistently over time, and then an imagination that lets you know there's something better, that the Super Bowl is there. We can do it if we follow the plan.
You can do it. Yeah, really. I really think, yeah. We'll go to this last thing. We'll end it with this, Coach. But this is amazing. I'm so glad we got to talk about this Thursday, y'all. Don't miss it. Thursday. Again, like and subscribe if you enjoyed any of this at all or found this useful. Share this with your friends, family, if you think it will benefit them. But Thursday, we're going to be talking about faith. Coach, I love that you picked faith. So the number 2 principle, y'all, we're going to get into. I'm so glad he chose faith. Almost was the one that I chose for today, but I had to go imagination. I feel like a big kid that was blessed to keep this childish curiosity and imagination, and I'm just going to have fun with it. But the one thing I want to end this with, Coach, is you wouldn't, again, this was Earl Nightingale from breaking down that 47-minute record of breaking down the 13 principles of what he says, the principles of Think and Grow Rich. And his words were, you wouldn't have the desire you have in your heart unless you already have the abilities to achieve it. And I think that everybody, if you have any of those things, again, end the show, and you're always going to end the show this way, because I think there's a lot of people who are, as Joe Rogan says, men live lives of quiet desperation, is one of his favorite quotes. I think there's a lot of, not just men, but people who are living lives of that, thinking they're stuck where they are, where they have to be, or what they're doing. But they have that idea that then is being destroyed by all of those false evidences appearing real in their head because of things in the past. And you just need, again, if on Sundays you are not looking forward to what Monday brings, or Monday you hate, you're just not doing what you're supposed to. And so there's something inside, there's something up here, there's an idea that wants to come out, and it's probably your purpose, your calling, your gift that was given. And it can either breathe life because you believe in it enough to just get it out there to somebody. Share with us. Call us crazy people. Me and Coach already have a call with us. Share the crazy idea with us. If anything, I'm going to believe it no matter what. So share with me, and we'll figure out how to make it happen. But
that forces me to be the pick it apart guy. I'm not always real good at it.
That's okay. But literally, we want to help make you believe in you, because that's what I think we need more of is people just believing in themselves, believing and creating communities of people around them to help them to believe in themselves as well. So, Coach, honestly, you've helped me do that.
So to bring us back to imagination real quick before we go, everything that I can see in front of me, the microphone, the screens, the lights, everything is the product of two creations. And the first one is the idea that came up in someone's mind that said, I think I can do this better. I think I've got this. And then they went forward. So whatever, and this is the time of year that we're planning goals, whatever is going through the imagination right now, just remember, writing it down is the first physical manifestation of making that idea, making that imagination become real. So start writing these ideas down. And if you need help believing in yourself, we got your back.
Yes, we do. Believe in yourself. Write it down. It all started with the word. Coach. So, Coach, thank you again. Thursday, I can't wait. Thursday's going to be fun to talk about faith. Again, guys, it all started with the word. So write it down.
Oh,
believe these.
You want to talk about the day after Christmas before we go?
Oh, yeah. Actually, we should. So good news, everybody. So today was supposed to be the 7 degrees of JTH, and how this crazy combination. How did I get paired up with this? How did this guy get paired up with me? Like, how did this happen? So we're going to get into a little bit of that. But so JTH, Mr. John Hewitt, will actually be joining us the day after Christmas. So if you all have the day off and want to catch just some great stories, and obviously we've now all worked together in different ways, but have definitely, I would say, Coach, you probably see your coaching tree, your learning tree. You'd probably hold him up there as a pretty strong mentor. So do I. So kind of a lot of our philosophies and ideas come from there. But so it's going to be so fun to have him on. I thank you, John, for coming on after Christmas. So, yeah, I can't wait for that. That's going to be a good time. I'm going to be so excited. So, Coach, again, thank you, and anybody who joined us, thank you again for just being a part of our crazy world and letting us share this stuff with y'all. But until Thursday, remember, feed the good wolf. Just keep feeding the good wolf.
I'm always on the red eye. This time around, it's not even about getting paid. I'm just